Pluralists are people, philosophers who believe there are many fundamental substances. The idea there is stuff in reality, but there's many of them. We looked at Leucippus and Democritus with the idea of atoms. We looked at Pythagoras with the idea of numbers being the fundamental substance. Plato and Aristotle capitalize on these previous philosophers' work and go on a deeper level. They actually, when Plato begins, he doesn't look, Plato has a view of atoms, he has a view of numbers, but Plato is greatly influenced by Pythagoras and take this idea of numbers being abstract entities and uses that to formulate his view. But Plato focused on different questions primarily, not so much what is the stuff of reality, but how did the stuff become what it became? Plato focused on a cosmological question. Aristotle does similar, but Aristotle actually look at both the cosmological and as well as the ontological question. Plato's primary focus not ontological. What's the stuff? Is it atoms or is it numbers? He wants to know how do things become what they become? Okay, how do things become what they become? You look at nature, you're seeing these wild cats. Now I only use them because I had more access to them on my computer when I made the slide. All right, you see wild cats, but there are different type of leopards, different type of tigers, and different type of lions in the world. All right, you can look at dogs, there are different type of dogs in the world. Okay, you say, how does nature do that? How does nature produce these different things? One part of that answer is that nature must have some kind of blueprint that it's using. It must have some kind of blueprint that it's using. These blueprints are equivalent to Pythagoras numbers. Listen to me. These blueprints are equivalent to Pythagoras numbers. They are abstract entities. He called them ideos or ideas. The world has ideas that exist in the world that allows for the production of things, other things in the world, like the different type of tigers in the world. These are ideas. We translate that into forms because forms is the word in the art that captures the silhouette of something, the design of it, the blueprint, as you can say. When you call them ideas, it confuses us because we use the word idea for something that's in the mind. Plato is postulating that these abstract entities exist out in the world. Furthermore, there are different types of things in the world. For example, we have wildcats here, okay, but we have horses, and there are different type of horses out there. We have birds and different type of birds. So there must be a higher level to go forward that captures the distinction between these creatures. And also, this up here, I don't have any domestic cats whatsoever, right? There must be a feline nature, which is a higher abstract entity out there. This is called a universal archetype. Archetype means perfect model or perfect design. But at this higher level, it's not a particular shape or size. It carries the essence of what it is to be a feline creature, essence to be a dog, essence to be a cat. That's what that most abstract entity must be up there. Now, all of this is logically possible. If you see tigers in front of you right now, it had to be logically possible. That is the way they're arranged had to be there cosmologically already. If it was impossible for those particles to arrange themselves in that way, there will be no tiger today. Similarly, whatever made cats, it had to be logically possible as a species, as a family unto itself. It had to be there. If it was not, there would be no cats now. When you see these logical possibilities, it follows with necessity, okay? It follows with necessities. Before, as you go to the zoo and you saw that giraffe for the first time, before you got there, it had been logically possible. If it were impossible for these things to be born in nature, they would never be. But it's a logical possibility. If you go way back to the beginning of time itself, it had to have always been logically possible. There is no time when the giraffe could not possibly have occurred. Notice what I'm saying right now. You're beginning with physical facts and you engage what we call abstract reason. You're going backward to say, why is the cat there? Why is the giraffe there? When you do that, you come to the forms. In Plato's sense, these forms are real. And I'm going to disagree with Plato just like I disagree with Pythagoras. I think they're real as abstract possibilities. But for Plato, he seemed to suggest that they're real in the Pythagorean sense, that meaning that they exist. okay, meaning that they exist. But it's not completely clear when you look at it, the actual works of Plato. So, but this is a sense that many people derive. But more people that I've heard speak like me. They're the possibilities. Once you accept that, you're saying that the reality I observe, the natural world I observe, was possibly before it appeared. Okay, it was possible before they appeared. So there must be two worlds, Plato reasoned. There must be two worlds. The world of being is where these abstract entities exist, and I can see them. I can learn to see them by this abstract reasoning. Okay, and the world of becoming is my world, our world. I'm speaking like Plato right now. It's my world where things change over time. These worlds are separate because the world out there, the world of possibilities, that world is eternal and unchanging. In this world where things always change. In Plato's concept of the two worlds, we capture another sense of Heraclitus and Parmenides. Parmenides is the world of being. Heraclitus is the world of becoming. Here's how his theory worked through abstract reasoning. We just looked at wild cats. You study the wild cats and you see that they're imperfect. You imagine what a perfect cat would be by looking at all the cats and imagining one cat that had all the positive features, and then you get to the ideal cat. That ideal cat does not exist in reality. It only exists as something that your mind can see, and that's the world of being. You see this world through your mind, through reasoning. You could do the same thing for plants. You could do the same thing for human beings. Plato also said you can apply the same abstract reasoning to societies. Which country is best? Which is the best country? You look at different societies, see which functions best, and you idealize, imagine a utopian society. Some scholars say he's the first one to come up with the idea of a utopian society. But a utopian society is something that exists only before the mind, not in physical reality. Plato never thought a society in reality can be physical. You can manage it pursuing the ideal, but the world will never be ideal. Okay, because this is the world of constant change, right? And so you get to the idea of justice. Same thing with beauty, same thing with love, right? So Plato say I embrace things physically here, and then I can do abstract reasoning to imagine what the perfect thing is. But because my understanding began with real physical things, those are real logical possibilities. Those things are real, and Plato thinks they exist. Okay, I wouldn't say completely. Most scholars don't think they exist like I do, but some do, all right? With respect to the human soul, he does argue as if they exist. He said the soul comes down from the higher form. And if the soul exists, so others would claim that all of the forms must exist. And then when you say they all exist, it becomes bizarre. How does the form of love exist? You follow me? It's a problem. You could say animals have souls, humans have souls, but what do you mean by love existing? How does justice exist out there? All right. So it's a bit of controversy, but in your mind, I want you to understand something. For Plato, the world of forms is perceived by the mind. And if you see abstractions, they're real. They are real. Whether you think they exist or not is irrelevant. They are real. You act platonically whenever you're looking for your ideal job, whenever you're looking for your ideal mate, you think in the platonic way. All right. We do this. We engage in abstract reasoning. This is a summary from Plato's text itself. In the Republic, where he articulates the theory. This is just the conceptual presentation. Before I gave you a lot of vision so you could understand it. All right. The first thing is that you have the two worlds, the world of being and the world of becoming. Right? And then Plato declares that this world has physical things. These are sensible objects. This is a technical word that Plato's using. Please remember that in your vocabulary understanding Plato. Sensible object. We want to use these old English words. We want to use this kind of translation because the more we put things in our own words, the more we're using our own interpretation, and that's not good. If I'm teaching this college level, I have to give you the philosopher's word or the word that most scholars use to express that philosopher's theory. And sensible object is the word and that's favored to explain physical things, right? He said sensible objects are real, but the images, which is their shadows or pictures today, if you take a picture of an image of a car, that picture is an image of the car. Plato said that the picture of the car in the picture is less real than the physical object. In a certain sense, that seemed to make sense. But you can also say that it's a real picture, Plato, and the car is a real car. All right. But he sees that the image is less real. When you look in the mirror, that image in the mirror of yourself is less real than you. And this is what he goes next. He said, this is a way of understanding reality, a gradation in reality. He says, now, as images are less real than sensible objects are less real than their concrete forms. Let's go back to my lion example, the tigers, okay? Tigers are real, they're sensible objects. A picture of a tiger is less real than the tiger, but the form, the blueprint, the design from which the tiger descends is more real than the tiger itself. Okay? In my interpretation, you would say the logical possibility is more real than the tiger. I don't know if I accept that from my interpretation. If you say the tiger exists, the form exists out there, then in that sense, I don't know if that works either. I don't know if that works either. All I can see for certain is this, all right? As Plato goes up the echelon, he's going to say the ideal, the universe form of the tiger, of all cats, really, okay, is more real than the specific tiger or the specific form of the leopard, specific form of the lion, all right? What Plato sees is a gradation in reality. This is the takeaway. He sees a gradation. Some things are more real than other things. Let me tell you what he sees in actuality. He sees the causality, okay? He sees causality, all right? Or possibilities coming to manifest, all right? So what's the best example? A good example is you, this is a physical example to illustrate this point here. Physical example, you're sitting there, you have parents, that's your concrete forms. Your parents got together, they gave birth to you, you take selfies all the time. Okay, but would you say that your parents are more real than you? Oh, that sounds bizarre. But it is necessarily true that your parents had to come together to give birth to you. And before your parents came about, the top abstract form will be like your grandparents. This is a physical example, so you understand the force, that it is true in some ways, and it's not, and it seems to be not true in other ways. Okay, it is true in this causally. All right. So the abstract form will be your grandparents. Four of them are there to give birth to your mother, give birth to your father. Any of the four missing, one of your parents is missing, okay, and you're not born. So it is a necessity. It's absolutely essential for you to have those particular grandparents to give you the particular parents for you to be where you are right now. Listen to this discussion and participate in it. You could see the necessity there. And this is all from logical possibility. Before you were born, you were logically possible. We would say modern time, you had two people that created the genetic mixture that became who you are. Okay? And before your parents, they also had another group of people you call your grandparents who created a genetic pool that allow your parents to be who they are. This was possibilities. These are just possibilities. Your parent may have many children and they are different genetic arrangements, okay? So there's a possibility. So before you're born, you're logically possible. There is a necessity in that sense. But to say that your parents are more real than you, or your grandparents are more real than your parents, this does not make sense, all right? And so I want you to see the biggest criticism of Plato, okay? And at the same time, understand the powerful insight he's seeing as well, okay? If you see something that is real, it was logically possible. So there is a sense in that anything that you see, going back to Parmenides, anything that you actually observe in the world was already real as a possibility, okay? It was already real as a possibility. I'm going to end here because what I really want to do is to criticize this theory from Aristotle. Aristotle sees the separation and he comes and criticizes the separation of the two worlds, okay? And Aristotle collapses the two worlds into one, all right? So I really want to begin, I want to look at Aristotle's criticism of Plato's theory here.